Okay, so we're back and I'm going to do a lamb curry. So I've got myself a red board out for raw meats. I've got a little cushion thing there, just stops it from slipping around while you're cutting up. So I've got that. I've got myself a big oven style crock pot. And at the moment that's all I've got. But we'll come back with all the spices and things in a bit. So I'll start off and just dice up this. So this is just some lamb leg that I got, and what we're going to do is trim it up, take off some of the excess fat that's on there because there is quite a bit. You don't want to take it all out because you want to leave something to give the curry a nice bit of taste. But again, the other side of that is you don't want loads and loads of fat in there. So just into decent sized chunks. And basically what I'm going to do is chop this up and then brown that off and then save that and make the curry sauce. Always have a bit of a feel around with your meat because you sometimes find there's bits of bone in there, which I've just found on that bit there, which obviously you don't want in your curry. Lamb makes a lovely curry, Indian style particularly. I think I love lamb. It's not particularly cheap, which is why I don't use it an awful lot. I got this on a deal from, I think it was Costco again. I do a lot of my bulk shopping at Costco. It makes it worthwhile. See there, look, that's a little bit of bone. You don't want that in your curry. Which I would say is a downside of buying it from, either a big shop or a wholesaler. If you can get it from your local butcher, then please do. I often buy from, there's one just up the road, and worthwhile, supports your local businesses and all the rest of it. Right, so I'll turn it around and we'll have a fry off. If you just bear with us, I'll stick you on pause for a short while. Right, so all we've got there is that, I don't know, maybe a tablespoon of oil in the bottom of there, and now I'm just going to gently fry that off. That's just olive oil that's in there, but you can use any oil that you like really. you can see there's not an awful lot of heat in there. I don't want to burn it on there or anything like that. Just want to gently fry that off. Just get a bowl to put the lamb into while I then make the curry in the same pot. I'll be frying this off in 2 lots because there's too much for just one. If you're not careful, what ends up happening is you end up stewing the meat, and that's really what you want to try and do, is seal it a little bit. Turn it up a little bit. Now you don't want too much colour on there, because it is going to go into the curry, as I say, once the curry's cooked. Just so it doesn't look so kind of, you don't want it looking insipid. If you put the meat in raw, which you can with chicken, I tend to put chicken in raw into the curries rather than pre-frying that. But with dark meats, I find it just makes it a little bit more tender as well. Rather than putting it in raw, as I say, it can be a little bit insipid if you just put it in raw. So that's now got enough on. So I'm going to put you on pause. I'll come back to you shortly with the rest of the curry. Okay, so here we have the ingredients for the actual curry sauce itself. So we've got ground cinnamon, ground turmeric, ground coriander, garam masala, black peppercorns, cloves, cardamom pods, bay leaves, garlic, tomato puree, and onions. And ginger. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the onions, garlic, and ginger, and basically blend them into a paste in this processor. So I'll just have a little bit of a tidy up, and I'll come back to you shortly. I think that's everything in shot there, like that. Just move that out of the way a little bit. Right, so these don't need to be anything too special, because you're going to blend it all anyway. So basically just take the tops and bottoms off. Take the outer skins off. Quarter them down. Drop them in. Normally I'd have that a bit further out of the way so it gives me more room on my chopping board, but if I do that you can't see, so it's no good. It's supposed to be something you can see and watch. This is a double the quantity. I'm doing a bit of batch cooking again. I always seem to, don't I? So the actual recipe, I would say, you know, if you're just doing it for a few people, a couple of people, 3 or 4, and do half this. So just you know, 2 onions instead of 4. But your onions are what will give you the paste, the delicious paste. So. And just in the flour. I go through onions in this house like it's going out of fashion. In fact, I'm going to have to just blend that a little bit because there's a lot in there. I'm not really sure what it's kind of made up as this recipe, so it doesn't really have a name as such. It's not like a, you know, madras or anything like that. You can make it as spicy or as unspicy as you like. I haven't actually got the chilies out yet, but I will do. And again, as far as the chili's concerned, go for what your taste is, not what I say, because I quite like things nice and spicy. That's going to have another whiz. Maybe we could do it with a bigger blender. I do have a bigger blender. This one's just handy. I find this one easy to clean actually. It's not about the size of the blender, as I say. Right, so that's your 4 onions. Right. And then I'm going to go for this big piece of ginger. Ginger gives it a nice freshness. That's a shame, it's got a nice stripe down that one. I have to take too much off that, mate. Do first, chop that down right and a bit, just slice that out there. There we go, that's fine. Because it's going in the blender anyway, so again, don't worry about it too much, just roughly chop it and then pop it into there. There we go, that's them. I'll just do a bit tidy up. Seems to be the story of my life, that. I spend that much time cooking, but I spend that much time cleaning up after myself as well. Right. quite a bit of garlic in here as well. Remember what I said about the garlic before? Just give it a crush with the side of your knife. Just makes the skins come off easier. A bit small. A bit mad with that one. I used to have a garlic peeler which was quite impressive. All it was like a plastic tube, a rubber tube thing with grooves on the inside. You put your piece of garlic in, rolled it around, and the skin just literally fell off. And it was a fantastic thing, but I've lost it. In fact, plenty of people would say I've lost it. That's a whole different thing. There we go. Hands quick rinse because I think I've said previously when you're peeling garlic it tends to go a bit sticky. So, right, so that'll do for that. Give it a bit blend. And I would say have a look inside and just move the sides down just to make sure there's no big bits left in there. That was good. Right, so I'm going to put you back on pause again just while I get the pan heated up so we're not wasting time. Right, so we're getting a little bit of heat back into the pan now. So just in with a little bit of oil, so a little bit, actually you want quite a bit of oil for this because your onion's going to soak it up, so probably a couple of tablespoons. And then what you need to do is put this in. Get some flavour onto these onions and garlic and ginger. That's all I've got in there, onion, garlic, ginger. And not too much of a blitz. I mean, some people like quite a chunky curry, and to be honest, most of the time I do. But for this one, I want to go with more of a paste. If you remember the, I think it was a chicken madras that I did a couple of weeks back, and I really like that sort of paste effect that it brought with it. So you can see the juice from the lamb has just gone into that now, and that's gone a little bit brown. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for that to heat up and just get rid of some of the excess moisture from there. So I'll leave you watching that while I have a tidy up behind you. Again. Give that a stir. Try to work out what that is. I think it's a bit of, oh, it's a bit of lamb. I'm alright with that. So I'll get some of the moisture taken from that before I start putting the other spices in. Now there are some people that would say that the spices that go into this don't need any extra chilli. You know, it would make quite a nice meal by itself, and that's absolutely fine if that's your taste. The thing I would say to you is, if you want spice, then add it. If you don't want spice, don't. Dead easy. Right, so a couple of bay leaves. Slack handful of peppercorns. Probably a good couple of teaspoons there, I would say. Well, what, 8 cardamom pods. Some cloves. That's about 6 there. And a teaspoon. And go with 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. One, 2. We'll turn that down now because it's going like a good. 2 teaspoons of coriander. I tend to use heaped, but you know, you can use what you like. 1 of turmeric. And this is actually that's the end of that one, so I think it's probably about 3 there altogether. 3 of garam masala, and that is your base. It needs water obviously, but I'm going to get some little bit of flavour on that. Get it just cooking down a little bit. The pan's hot, by the way. It smells lovely. And it seems weird, doesn't it? So I've put the onion on to take the moisture out of it, and then I'm going to put in moisture back in by means of water, and at the end some Greek yogurt or yogurt. But the reason you do that is the onion needs to soften and brown off a little bit. It takes the moisture out of the onion and get rid of that, and then you put water in. So you put the moisture back in, but it's taken the harshness away from the onion and cook the spices out through it. And that's where the difference is. Not quite cooked out yet. And I'm going to use probably all of this actually. That's it. Perhaps if it's open so. I think the original recipe when I found this, I can't remember what site it was on now. Flies. It said for 2 cups of tomato puree, so I think that's about that. The tomato puree, that thickens it up again, obviously. So now that's got a nice paste to it. So I'm going to put some water in there now, bring that to the boil. And this is not going to be served today, this is for a couple of days time, so I'm going to give it time to mature. So I'll bring that to the boil. And I can test the spice on it. I don't think there'll be any heat to this yet, because the only thing you've got in there that's going to give you any heat really is the garlic and ginger, and that's not really the spice I was after. As in, you know, for heat. It will give you a little bit, but I will add some chilli. But I'll show you that as we go along. So while I was busy making a mess in my cooker, to right down. Actually, that tastes really nice. There's no real heat to it, so I'm going to put you on pause for just a second while I get some chilies prepped. Sorry, that was I've paused you and I thought I was filming. I've put a Scotch bonnet in there, just one red one. They were red hot when I used them the other day, so I'm going to see how that pans out. That's just been there a couple of minutes now, just give it a quick taste. It's got a good bite to it. In fact, that's really nice. Right, so back in with your lamb and the juices from said lamb. Quick stir around, get incorporated. That'll do. And then it's just a case of lid on, leave to bubble away. So I'll pause you, I'll come back in a bit, probably about an hour, and see what it's like. Right, so I'm just back. It's been on bubbling away for about an hour now. Just have a quick taste of it, see what it's like. It smells delicious. Just ignore the washing machine in the background there. That's perfect. So that's really nice. That's one Scotch bonnet chilli on top of the other spices that are in there, and that's I would say just about perfect. So that's now off. Let it cool down, and it'll stop in there. I'll put it in the fridge, and it'll sort of just mellow over the next day, and we'll see how we get on from there.